Welcome, everyone, to our very first episode of Trending, a show that takes a look around West Hollywood and highlights things that are, well, trending. I'm Tracy Savage, your host, and together we're going to find out more about people, events, locations, shopping, and parties, and the wonderful collection of trending subjects that makes West Hollywood a city like no other. For our very first show, we went to the top of our list of what makes West Hollywood truly unique: people. Holiday season is here, and holidays affect everyone, sometimes in a good way, and sometimes in a not so good way. We're right in the middle of holiday season, and a lot of people are already wishing it was over. The holiday season is meant to be a wonderful time of year for friends and family, bringing us all together. A season meant to bring joy to our lives. But it doesn't always work that way. Today, we're going to talk about some of the difficulties people face during this time of year and uncover some ways that people can get help to survive the annual holiday blues. Joining me now on this very first segment of Trending, two longtime members of the faith community here in West Hollywood, both active leaders in support of issues related to the LGBT community. Rabbi Denise Egger and Reverend Neil Thomas. I want to thank you both very much for joining me here today.
Well, we're delighted to be here with you and delighted to be here with all of West Hollywood, especially the holiday season, which is so festive. But that can lead also to some feelings of sadness and loneliness. Sometimes people are far away from their families. Sometimes people don't speak with their families or have little or no family. And so the holidays can bring up sometimes really good memories of childhood and presents and family dinners, extended family gathering. And if you have nowhere to go to gather, then that can really be a time of great sadness and reflection.
It can really emphasize the fact that you're alone.
It certainly can do. I mean, as Rabbi Denise said, you know, this is a very difficult time for a lot of people, especially those of us in the LGBT community who often are estranged from families. And with the overemphasis about family at this time, it really complicates the whole issues, especially for many of us as we look back and we think about those great losses that we've had in our lives, just to be who we are. And so it's a difficult time for some people.
Well, I suppose it's made even harder because we're bombarded with messages in the media that say, oh, the holidays are filled with joy, filled with happiness. And if you're not feeling it, that can be really, really tough. Rabbi Denise, what happens with people's expectations during the holidays?
Well, that's a really good question about their expectations, because we are bombarded by so many messages of joy and peace on earth. And if you're not feeling those inside, then there's a disconnect between those kinds of expectations in the outside world and what the reality of people's lives can be like. They may not be able to afford to buy presents. I mean, there's economic issues in our country of the rush, the Black Fridays after Thanksgiving, when people are rushing to buy all those presents for whomever, maybe their pet even, but they may not have the financial resources, and that also leads to sadness and sometimes a bit of grief and mourning. And I do notice an uptick, and I think Reverend Neil can say we both have dealt with a number of people that have contemplated suicide, especially during the season, because the depth of their sadness. And I think another aspect of this is that, especially in the LGBT community, you might want to go home with your spouse or your husband or wife, partner, and your family doesn't recognize that spouse or partner as family, then you really are in a double bind. And so do you choose your family of origin? Do you choose your spouse that you've made a home and family with, perhaps here in West Hollywood? And so lots of complicated feelings and situations happen during the season.
Well, Reverend Neil, who is vulnerable to depression this time of year?
I think all of us are vulnerable to depression at this time of the year for many of the reasons that we've already discussed. You know, the whole complications of families of choice, your spouse, making all of those decisions that one has to make because of the overemphasis on this time of the year. And they bring up such emotional issues for so many of us. So I think all of us are vulnerable to depression. It's how we handle these complicated issues in our own lives, some of which we're well equipped for and some that we're not so well equipped for.
And Tracy, I think one of the things we have to remember is that there are more people who are single in America than are married. The whole bowling alone from Robert Putnam, the professor from Harvard's syndrome, that we might not have extended families. It might be the people in your condo building that have become your family. And that's wonderful to try and create connections and friendship circles wherever you are.
Well, how can you tell if you are depressed? How can you tell if a loved one is feeling sad during the holidays? What are some of the basic symptoms that you see in your outreach with folks?
I see people isolating, stepping out of society, out of connection with people, which is a visible sign that something's going on the inside. Staying away from and really kind of burying their heads in the sand at this time of the year. And I think that's a really visible sign of what might be going on for someone.
There might be people that a friend might snap at you and you don't really know why they've done that. And sometimes that's a defense mechanism because they don't want you to get in too close to really see the pain inside. So I think it's always a good idea to have a little extra patience, especially during the whole holiday season, because that people are so kind of really on the edge. Everybody, whether you're old or young or in between, I think that's just a really good rule of thumb.
So it's a real thing. The holiday blues, we're in the middle of the holidays. There could be a lot of people feeling it right now. What do you do, Rabbi Denise? What do you do to help yourself, to help people? How do you get through this?
Well, if you're someone who's feeling depressed, it's really important to try whatever you can do is to get out of your apartment, your house, your living situation, and be with others. Find a group of friends or community, even if you don't want to say a word, someone that's just going to love you up the way you are and hang out. And both Reverend Neil and I both have communities that would love to simply just welcome people. There are wonderful places in the city of West Hollywood that have warm and caring folks, and even if you're not a quote-unquote religious person, the holidays is a good time to connect with other people.
Absolutely.
And so I would say whether it's coming to Plummer Park in the community center, or you might want to drop in for a Christmas service or a Hanukkah service, or just simply any time, not even for a holiday, to be with somebody and urge yourself to get out over that threshold of your house or your apartment and be with others. It's very, very important.
And certainly you hear people say, well, go to therapy. Well, therapy's expensive. You can go to a service in your church and get that kind of therapy, and it doesn't cost a thing.
Absolutely. Either of our communities are going to be very warm and welcoming at this time and at every time of the year. But yeah, I absolutely agree with Rabbi Denise. It's about getting out, don't isolate, keep yourself connected, as hard as that may feel. But keep yourself in community, find places in which you can be. And there's lots more than just the bars and clubs here in West Hollywood that we can find that connection.
And we are talking about today volunteering and what you can do to serve others. Some people may feel, well, being around people who have less may make me feel more sad. But that's not true, is it, if you're helping people?
Usually one of the experiences that we find, and certainly that we teach in Judaism, is that when you're helping and giving to others, really what you're doing, the way it fills up your own life is so great. And there's so many people that need, especially at this time of year, that could use a kind word, that could use a special meal. Volunteer in one of the many food pantries that help those who really don't have, who really have extra needs at this time, can really help someone overcome their own depression. I don't want to sound too simplistic, but it does make a difference to be in touch with people. And if you're really feeling so depressed and you're having suicidal thoughts, you need to reach out, to call a friend, not to do anything, to call 911 to get the help that you need.
And Reverend Neil, is it really better to give than to receive?
Well, you know, I like to do both. But truly, I mean, Christianity has exactly the same philosophy as Judaism. We hold so much in common, Rabbi and I, and we celebrate our relationship throughout the year. But you know, the reality is that the more you do to give of yourself, to volunteer, to help someone who perhaps is even feeling more depressed or feeling more lonely and isolated than yourself, just does give a perspective to your own life. And you know, being able to cook for someone, to help with a toy drive, to do something for young, vulnerable folk, is just such a wonderful way. And you know, here in this city, we have so many opportunities to volunteer and to be around. You know, Project Angel Food and the Trevor Project, and just so many organizations that would love to have your volunteerism at this time of the year, and of course throughout the year.
And we're going to be talking about Project Angel Food and talking with folks from that organization coming up later in Trending.
Perfect. I think the other thing is to think of things that you might not. Stop by our wonderful fire stations and our police stations on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, and make a batch of brownies and bring it to our wonderful, wonderful officers and firefighters. They're working hard all year long and on holidays, and that's so appreciated. And there are lots of simple ways that you can help be of service and help yourself get beyond the borders of your own sadness. And I think that's part of what celebrating the holidays with good spirit really can mean, is to get beyond those borders.
Rabbi Denise, Reverend Neil, I want to thank you both for joining me on our very first episode of Trending. Lovely to have you here today.
Great to be here.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Tracy.
Thank you very much. And coming up, Amber Jaye is on location talking to a few of our local service providers to see how they can help us through these tough times. When we come back, we'll talk to the folks at Project Angel Food. Amber?
Thanks, Tracy. I'm Amber Jaye, and I'm right outside the West Hollywood Recovery Center. The Recovery Center is a place for 12-step groups that provide assistance with addiction recovery, prevention, and education for those in need. I'm here with Greg Howell, former president and current board member of the West Hollywood Recovery Center. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, how are you, Amber?
All right, so Greg, tell me about the mission of the West Hollywood Recovery Center.
The mission of the West Hollywood Recovery Center, which is located on Robertson Boulevard, is basically a nonprofit organization who provides 12-step recovery programs to the city of West Hollywood.
All right, and tell me about what kind of programs the center offers.
Well, in all 12-step based programs, beginning with, of course, obviously Alcoholics Anonymous, but we also provide meetings for Crystal Meth Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Al-Anon. We have meetings for the Russian community, so AA meetings that are held in Russian language, and any of the other 12-step programs that are seeking a place to hold meetings. We welcome them.
What goes on behind the scenes at the center?
Well, it's also a place for people who are seeking information, education, and sort of resources regarding recovery in general. We get a lot of calls and we get a lot of visits from people who discover that recovery happens here, and information about how a loved one or a friend might seek recovery. We get a lot of people from the community that look to us for that, and we're happy to sort of provide them with those resources.
Okay, and you spoke about getting involved. So other than going to the website and donating, is there anything else that someone could do if they wanted to get involved with the center?
Well, I think they could probably reach out to the board of the West Hollywood Recovery Center and talk to us a little bit about how they would like to get involved with our mission statement and basically furthering the information and the availability of recovery in West Hollywood. We are always open to ideas that would support that.
Okay, and if someone wanted to sponsor a program here and start a 12-step program here, what would they have to do to do that?
They would contact the office, and it's basically we schedule meetings around the clock. The first meeting is at 6 a.m. in the morning and ends at 1 a.m. at night. It's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have meetings here. Unless there's a scheduled event that is already pre-scheduled, we offer those services to anyone who wants to hold a meeting based upon availability. So basically hour-long meetings, hour-and-a-half-long meetings in slots that are available, and provided their program or their meeting is going to be 12-step based, they can call and see if there's availability for them to set up a regular scheduled meeting.
Perfect. And do you have anything you want to add about the West Hollywood Recovery Center?
Other than the fact that we are happy to have partnered with the City of West Hollywood and for them to have given us a permanent home here in West Hollywood for recovery. They've made a commitment to us, and we in turn have made a commitment to the residents of West Hollywood that if recovery and addiction from alcohol or drugs is something that they're seeking, that our doors are always open and we are here to help.
Greg, I want to thank you so much for coming on. If you want more information about the West Hollywood Recovery Center, visit www.thewhrc.org.
If you want help fighting the holiday blues, one key is to help others. Hello everyone, I'm Tracy Savage and welcome back to Trending, a brand new show for West Hollywood right here on WehoTV. You know, you can watch WehoTV on Channel 10 in West Hollywood, on the internet, and on demand. For current programming and schedules, follow WehoTV on Facebook and Twitter. Today we're talking about how to bring joy back into the holidays, and volunteering is a great way to help shake those holiday blues. In this segment of Trending, we're talking with Peter Gursky from the local organization that could definitely use your help as they reach out to help hundreds of people right here in LA County. Project Angel Food is an effort that started back in 1989 to provide meals just to a small group. It has blossomed into an organization that delivers thousands of meals all across LA County every year. Peter, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about Project Angel Food. What is this organization?
Project Angel Food's mission is to nourish the body and spirit of men, women, and children with HIV, AIDS, cancer, and other life-threatening illnesses. Volunteers staff, cook, and deliver nutritious, free meals all week long throughout LA County. Because, you know, hunger and illness can't wait. So we do this all with a sense of urgency.
And you started it more than a dozen years ago.
A long time ago, no, almost 20, back in 1989. Actually, Marianne Williamson started it in the back of a kitchen off Fairfax. And it was in response to all their friends, mostly gay male friends, who were dying of this new disease, which turned out to be HIV and AIDS. And we were in that kitchen for probably about 5 years or so, until the need grew so great that we expanded to a kitchen on Sunset Boulevard. And we were there for a many number of years until we recently, about 5 years ago, moved to our building at 922 Vine Street. So it's been a progression of growth for us as well. We grew to fit the need of the disease, HIV and AIDS, and then the miracle of miracles happened. They created all this new medicine that helped cure these people. So we were sort of left with this great machine that delivered great and free food to lots of people. So we expanded out. We now really reflect the diversity of Los Angeles County. 73% of all our clients are people of color, 41% are women, and then 41% are identify as gay. So we really reflect the diversity of Los Angeles County and, of course, West Hollywood.
And tell me more specifically about your clients. These are people who really depend on these meals to survive. Is that right?
That's correct. We service people who do not have the ability to feed themselves.
Wow.
And that's really our core mission. I mean, we feed people who need to be fed. Yeah. And it's the people who are the sickest. You know, in the early days, people were wasting away from HIV/AIDS, and they couldn't even get up to cook. Right. So sometimes our volunteers were the only friendly face that they saw all day long. Yeah. And that's still the case when we deliver meals. Sometimes, you know, illness tends to isolate people. So not only do we bring the food, we bring the love too. Yes. And that's why we say it's made with love. You know, Project Angel Food wouldn't be anywhere without its volunteers. They are the heart and soul of our organization, and they always have been. Now, we've grown so large. I mean, last year we delivered 688,000 meals throughout Los Angeles County.
In one
year? One calendar year. That's amazing. It's an amazing amount of food.
Incredible. And it's all over LA County.
County-wide. And the volunteers come to the kitchen and help prepare the food, and then we send the food out every week, sometimes daily as well.
And what do these volunteers do? How do they get involved? Do they cook? The
volunteers do a wide range of activities. I mean, they come, it can be as basic and as satisfying as chopping the vegetables, like chopping the carrots. Yeah. It's packaging the meals, it's labeling the meals. We do a flash frozen product now so that we can deliver a full week of meals to our clients. And then they're fed for an entire week. We don't have to worry about them. So the volunteers come in, they do a variety of things. Now, we've grown to such an extent. I mean, to be able to serve that many meals, almost 700,000, we have a dietitian on staff who makes medically correct meals for these people, because some of them have kidney failure, so it has to be low salt, some has to be low fat. So they're medically matched to their condition, right? And then they're cooked freshly with fresh ingredients. And a new development lately is that we have some plots of land throughout the city where we're growing fresh vegetables.
That's amazing.
So not only when you volunteer for us or when you give us money, we're saving you money because we're growing the vegetables locally. We're reducing our carbon footprint. We're providing fresh vegetables for our clients. I mean, it's a great full circle, isn't it?
So you talk about the volunteers. They not only chop the vegetables and deliver the meals, but they are human contact with these people. A lot of them who are called shut-ins, a lot of them who don't get out. Does this need grow during the holidays? This need to be out there and see these people?
Tremendously, because the holidays are all about gathering with your family or your friends or whoever your designated family is. And some of these people don't have that. They are isolated by their disease, by their inability to get out. Some don't have transportation. So when we bring them the food, that's their contact. And you know, some people have volunteered for so many years that the patients get to know the volunteers.
Of course.
So there's that friend-to-friend contact. Yeah, there's a relationship. And that's really what we're known for, is we've been able to make improvements in the food year after year after year. We run client surveys to make sure the food is tasty and nutritious. But really the most important thing is that we bring them the love that they can miss by being isolated and not having family. And especially like during Thanksgiving, we'll make sure we send out a special Thanksgiving meal and pumpkin pie and all the sort of traditional.
And do you do that for Christmas then too?
And for Christmas as well.
Yeah. Can anyone volunteer?
Anyone can volunteer. We have a short little training session they have to go through. It's about 20 minutes long. It's mostly about kitchen and hygiene and stuff like that. But most anyone can volunteer. I see people there on Sundays. We cook on Sundays. They sort of do it as, some people go to church and they do it before church. Some do it instead of church. But it's very reverent, taking your love and creating food for someone that you know is going to help them through their day.
And you know, we're helping with Project Angel Food people in need, and yet for the volunteers, it's got to be helping them. It's got to be filling their hearts. So rewarding.
Oh my God, it is a huge payoff. It is a huge payoff. When I came to Project Angel Food, I came to Project Angel Food because I had a friend who they had served, and he unfortunately passed away. But that's what brought me to the agency, to give back. And there are a lot of people that live in this big old city of ours who want to have a connection, like they're helping, like they're giving back. Because you can see on the news all the hurt that's in the city. And our agency is such a great way to provide a basic need for people. I mean, it's feeding people who need food. And to be able to give of that's why they started a long time ago signing the top of the food containers with the marker going with love. Because that's what we felt we wanted to send. The volunteers feel it in their hearts. They know they're giving back. They're providing this basic need of feeding people.
And they're getting so much out of it.
So much. We have so many loyal volunteers. We have, throughout the year, probably 3,600 different people come. We have high school kids who come. We have parents who bring their kids. We have teenagers. We have older folks. We still have some people who work with us who had sons and daughters who have passed away and still come to support us.
Wow. Peter Gursky, Project Angel Food, I want to thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
And that's trending for today. If you have a comment or would like more information, just leave a message at WehoTV on Facebook or Twitter. You can also email WehoTV@weho.org and put #trending in the subject line. We're going to get right back to you, we promise. I'm Tracy Savage. May your holidays truly be happy.